Right, thanks for waiting, everyone. We will be accepting questions during the webinar, and obviously there's a session at the end to ask questions as well. So if you want to send any questions you may have as the webinar's playing, feel free to ask away, and we'll do our best to answer them at the end. Without further ado, here's Daniel.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Apex Cybersphere Security webinar. I want to welcome all of our customers here today while we give you an overview of how we are working towards keeping you and your businesses safe from cybersecurity threats. Traditionally in the past, we might have spoken to you about individual products and services. Maybe we would have looked at things like phishing simulations with you, maybe looked at things like email training, online training for cybersecurity. We might have spoken to you about some great products that you've got in place, such as Apex Zero Trust, application whitelisting. You may have taken or EDR, antivirus solution. You may have looked at things like dark web monitoring. The problem we've had as a business is when we're talking to business owners and decision makers about security, is we're trying to explain all these different packages and services, and then customers are choosing which ones they see as appropriate for their business. And where that is inherently fallen down is that business owners know their businesses really well, know their staff really well, but they may have a tendency to be biased about what they've seen in the media. Maybe they think that cyber training is really important, but they don't think, for instance, that application whitelisting is important because they don't understand the risks and the dangers to that. And what we're really wanting to do is bring together a holistic approach to IT security and cover all of the major bases so that business owners aren't having to pick and choose between security products and maybe understand the full range of services and complexities that are going on behind that. And in addition to that, you can get product fatigue where you've got all these different products doing different things and it not really linking up and working well for you. So the difference with the new offering that Apex is presenting to its customers is that it is backed with our wonderful cyber security team, which is Nathaniel as our head of cyber security and Joanne as one of our cyber security engineers. And we're really trying to place the emphasis on about how people make a difference to security, about how they're monitoring the logs, how they're reacting proactively to what's coming up from the products and services that customers have in place. So it's a bit of an introduction. We have had a wonderful video made about our offering. Nathaniel Gill and Joanna starring in the video. So we're just going to show you that video now. It takes a couple of minutes. And then also we're going to have a case study from David M. Robinson's The Jewelers, which is one of our fantastic customers, one of our flagship customers. They'll be talking about how that's helped their organisation. If any of you don't know David M. Robinson's The Jewelers, their head office is in Altrincham, but they've got branches in Canary Wharf, Liverpool 1, they're a flagship Rolex dealership, Patek Philippe if you're into your watches. They also have an Amiga boutique in Liverpool 1, Tag boutique that's opening in Manchester. So they've probably got around 80 staff, so it's quite a large organisation. They're dealing with a lot of sensitive information for end users, personally identifiable information. Some high-profile people in there as well. Financial transactions, other details around security in the shops and the stock levels and so on. So for them, data security is really important. When you think of a jewelers, you might not realise just what actually else goes on behind the scenes there. So they've actually entered into our new security offering, which we're going to be talking about a bit more today. So I'll start the video, and I hope you all enjoy Nathaniel and Joanne's presentation skills. Thank you.
At Apex Computing Services, we realise that cybersecurity is a growing issue, especially in the UK. It's estimated that around 40% of businesses will be hit with a cybersecurity incident every year. So as a company, it's your responsibility to protect your data and the data of your clients.
The Apex Cybersecurity Sphere is a collection of products that we've chosen that will give your company the very best protection in the space of cybersecurity.
We've designed the Sphere to be the best possible solution for any size of business. It's a collection of products that work really well together, that we know and trust, and that we use internally.
We have Advanced Device Threat Detection and Response, which is more effective at detecting threats than a traditional antivirus.
We've got the Apex Zero Trust software, which is application whitelisting and network access control across your network.
Ransomware detection automatically isolates infected devices from the rest of the network when ransomware is detected.
We've got advanced configuration in Microsoft 365 to help lock down your users to be as secure as possible.
Dark web monitoring regularly monitors the dark web for leaked usernames and passwords.
There's a cybersecurity reporting platform which helps us deal with your issues in a timely manner.
The training aspect of the Sphere is simulated phishing attacks, where you receive an email in your inbox and you then have to report it. You also get to watch training videos once a month.
With the range of different products that we do, they scale up depending on the size of the organisation, and we look through your logs, check everything's running the way it should do, deal with any issues when they're alerted to us, to help you with the Sphere 24/7, 365 whenever there's an issue. So if you're interested in the Sphere, feel free to get in touch and talk to us. We can help you start on that path.
So I'm Paweł Klaman, Project and Operations Manager for David M. Robinson Ltd. And our company is one of the biggest independent jewelers, and we are serving clients mainly in the northwest area, but we've got showrooms as well down the south in London, and we are offering a range of luxury products to our clients, including the biggest watch brands in the world like Rolex and Patek Philippe, and fantastic range of the bespoke jewelry. I think one of the biggest challenges was the fact that we didn't have like a one dedicated person who could really be on it. When the business was smaller, it was kind of okay, but when we grown, it was a little bit more challenging, and the introducing of Apex Sphere helped us tremendously in that area, because now we know we've got the dedicated team of experts from the external company who can look after cybersecurity properly. Data is the most valuable asset that we've got. The information we've got in our system about our clients are very personal, and we need to make sure that they are safe, very safe, like safe in the bank. So the decision-making process behind it was to make sure that whatever information shared in confidentiality between our client and ourselves, it's got to be safe, and the Apex Sphere is the tool which helps us to make sure that this is actually the case. I think we're quite a big benefiters of the fact of the constant ongoing training, which is also the part of the Sphere. I would say that increased the awareness among our staff. I would describe Sphere as like the umbrella kind of product, because cybersecurity, it's not something that can be treated as like one single aspect, and to make sure that you're doing what you can on a cybersecurity field, you've got to be able to apply multiple products, and this is what Sphere does. So we know that we're protected from malware, we are protected from ransomware, we are protected from like accidental clicks on a links with additional blocker tools. So I would say that the fact that it's so broad, it's so good and important to us. We've got to make sure that our business is strong in terms of being resilient to any cyber attack, including ransomware, because our data is very important. But even the aspects of like ongoing training, because I'm a big believer that your cyber security of organization is in hands of your own staff. And of course, it's very important about how much we do as a company to make sure that we're creating a safe environment. But it's equally important for the regular staff members to be on the top of that as well, and being aware of the potential threats and dangers. And this is what Sphere is helping us as well to establish. With Sphere on board, we know it's much easier to undertake any kind of security audits or like the annual audits we've got to undertake. And these days, it's not only financial and stock areas which are scrutinized, but it's also a cybersecurity. So even from that perspective, it's very helpful. I would say it's playing a pivotal role because, first of all, it helped me to offset my time because I know we are in the capable hands. I love the fact that there is a dedicated team from Apex Computing which is looking solely after that. So any kind of response times are very, very fast. Yeah, I would say especially that part called no before about the training of the end user, because of course with the cyber security, most of the things are happening kind of in the background. So the whole point of having those tools in place is to make sure that they are not affecting day-to-day business and day-to-day operations of the staff. Yes, because the last you want, it's really people to be distracted from what their day-to-day obligations are. So this is for sure what Sphere is helping, but the training tool, it's quite good as well, because the range of videos and like short quizzes, it's something which is always bringing the security matter to the front of people's mind. Yes, I would say so. Even the fact that we are receiving the reporting information. So, for instance, we know if people are clicking on the malicious links or if they are behaving in a safe way in the system. I would say Fear for sure increased the awareness, and to me that's the biggest benefit. Well, I would strongly recommend that because we are using that for quite a time now. We are really happy with the service, and you can treat the Sphere from few multiple angles. For sure is the solution which increases the security of your own companies, which is great to start with. It's something which can save you a lot of money in the future because it's reducing the risk of your business being out of operation because of any kind of attack quite dramatically. And also, like I mentioned before, it helps you to get additional accreditations. It helps you to reduce the premium you've got to pay for your cyber insurance. So I think the cost that you've got to pay for a Apex Sphere, it's quite low comparing to the benefits that you are getting out of them. Oh, it was a seamless process. So if you are hesitating, like, oh my God, will it be like a really demanding process or anything like that? No, Apex got a dedicated team of people who are doing that kind of job. So you will be guided through the whole process. So you'll know exactly what to expect. They will stick to the deadlines. So there will be no downtime in whatever your company is doing on a daily basis. It's huge because the fact of offsetting the whole cybersecurity aspect somewhere else is massive, because cybersecurity is a constant battle between businesses, people, and criminals. So this is the area which needs to be researched and looked at all the time. So it's very difficult to get a dedicated person within smaller and medium range businesses who can actually do that on a proper level. So the fact of knowing that we are in capable and safe hands, I think is the biggest benefit.
Okay, so we're on to the any questions section, and as you all probably have seen in the invite, there's a £50 Amazon voucher up for grabs, and we're going to make it for the best question. We only have one question at the moment, which is anonymous, so you've got quite good odds. If you want to ask a question, you might well walk away with an Amazon voucher. If the person that put that question is anonymous wants to put their name forward in there as well, I can mark you down. But the question we've got so far is data can be a threat from external sources, but leaks are quite often caused by unintentional internal errors. For example, sending an email to the wrong person, or sending an internal email trails to external email addresses. Do you have products within the sphere to assist with that? That's a great question. There are elements of Office 365 and Business Premium and add-ons to Office 365 with their Azure data loss prevention products, where you can mark sensitivity labels on certain types of data. It's not configured within the sphere, but it's definitely something that we would like to talk to customers more about. And Nathaniel and I and Ashley are happy to go on calls with any customers that want to know about data loss prevention. The part about data loss prevention is that you really have to manage and maintain what you see as sensitive data within your organization. The great thing about the Apex cybersecurity sphere is it's quite automated. Besides the training for your end user staff, a lot of the systems and processes that are in there are automated to protect your organization. With DLP, data loss prevention, where you're looking at what types of information are allowed to be sent in and out of your organization, there's a huge management piece from the customer, from yourselves, to actually manage and define what that data should be and actually tag it in such a way. So if you would like to talk about DLP, please drop myself or your account manager an email at the end of this. We can talk to you about that. I was wondering, do we have any other questions here?
There's nothing come through just yet.
None at the moment. I'll just give it a minute, see if anyone else wants to ask a question. If not, we'll have to pick a name out of a hat for the prize. Okay, let's give it one more minute. And if there's no other questions, I'll just give you a bit of a background of what the next. Oh, here we go. There's a few. Fantastic. Okay. Kitty, do you worry that with email phishing training part, staff will get complacent with the trial ones and nothing bad happening if they click on it? Yeah, fantastic question. The great thing about the phishing training is that there is a bit of a gamification and reward part to it. So if a member of staff receives a phishing email, like if I receive an email on my inbox and I think it's phishing, there's a button that appears for customers that take the training, and it says report fish test, and if it is one of the tests, it actually comes up and says congratulations, you've guessed it right. And if it isn't one of the testing emails, it actually sends it to the service desk to check what that email is, and then the service desk can report back to that individual to let them know whether it was a genuine email, whether it was safe, whether it's something that we should be concerned about. So I really like the fact that there is an action in the email for the end user to take, and also if the end user does get tricked by one of the tests, it gets put into a report at the end of the month to their manager. The manager's made aware of it. So there's constantly a bit of camaraderie about who has been caught out by these emails, and that fun aspect of it really kind of drives that forward. So what can protect us? This is from Nick. What can protect us from the annual cost of Sphere growing significantly more than inflation? Obviously, cost always is taken into account. What I would say with the Sphere is that any products that you've got already that might be part of the Sphere, so you might have, for instance, the Apex Zero Trust whitelisting software, because that's as part of the Sphere, it would be discounted from that product set. So that does make it cost effective, because we're bundling those pieces of software together. If you were to buy all the different elements separately, it would be more expensive. Plus, as the Sphere is a managed service, you're also getting Nathaniel and Joanne and Ashley and the rest of the team here proactively managing that and making improvements to it. I mean, one thing we were talking about this week is reviewing what's in the Sphere and constantly updating it and upgrading it for all customers, so that they're always getting the best level of protection. So it isn't a one-time we put it in and we forget about it. We're always trying to make sure that there's value out of those product sets, and they are the most relevant product services in place for you and your business. So we've got another question from Rowan. He says, Daniel, can you tell me a little more on how the product helps with insurance premiums? Yeah, absolutely. So now with cyber insurance, a lot of the brokers, a lot of the providers are asking for criteria to be in place. So an example is at Apex we use a company called Travelers, and this year they are asking specifically about end user training. There are also other elements. Just as an example, they're asking us about things like the switches and the Wi-Fi that we use in the office. So it's continuously they're raising the bar all the time. A lot of the products in the sphere allow you to have compliance in certain areas. So depending on who you get your cyber insurance from, there may be elements of that service that allows you to negotiate or maybe work with a insurance provider that wouldn't accept you if you didn't have those services in place. Julie Davenport has asked, if we have some elements of a sphere, how do you price the extra items? So just reflecting on the answer I gave to Nick as well, Julie, we will actually discount the price of a sphere because you've already got those other elements elsewhere. So in effect, the price of a sphere, you wouldn't be paying for your other elements separately. It kind of gets bundled in to make it cost effective. The next one, I'm going to hand over to Nathaniel if he's available because it's more of a technical question. Are you on here, Nathaniel, at the moment for the last question?
I am, yeah.
Super.
So how do you handle network intrusions and infected PCs or other hardware already inside the network when you deploy the software? So part of the sphere is obviously the EDR, which is the enhanced detection and response piece. So what that does, like I say, it'll pull up and tell us if there are any infections on PCs, any PCs that have got things going on that obviously the ESET either didn't realise or whatever the other product you used to have didn't realise. So again, any sort of remediation work is included in the price that you pay for the sphere. So if it pulls up that there are network intrusions or infected PCs, then obviously we take the relevant remedial steps required. Like I say, it's all included in the price that you pay.
Super. Yeah, no, that is important, and also we are obviously the service desk gives great support when people need it, but with the sphere we are really dedicating Nathaniel and Joanne to proactively look after those customers that take that product set as well, going above and beyond monitoring logs, working with the products in the sphere to keep those customers safe. Julie, again, a great question here, Julie. What is the take up on the training from staff and clients? We find it difficult to get staff to do regular training on a timely basis. Absolutely, you know, you don't want members of staff just not taking part in it. So the way we set it up is that managers get reports on who has been actually doing the training in the teams and who hasn't been doing it. So like in our team, if somebody's maybe missed a couple of weeks or hasn't logged in for a month or done any of the training videos, the manager's notified. In our team, when we have like the weekly meetings internally, we'll say, you know, I'm just going to, Thomas is sat next to me here. Thomas always does his training, but we might say, Thomas, you've not logged in for 2 weeks on your training. Can you please log in and complete that part? And once he's completed that section, we'll be notified that that user is back up to date. A really important thing with training is that some customers say, well, can we just do the training once for a month and then we've done it and we don't need to worry about it again? The thing with cybersecurity training is it is always changing and it needs to be at the forefront of people's minds. If you do a set of training once, an intensive training course for half a day, and you don't do anything again for 18 months, that person will have fallen into bad habits, they'll have forgotten what they learned 18 months ago. By consistently training them and in small sections and small parts and keeping it present in their mind, it's just much more effective. And these training videos take 2-3 minutes at a time. I do one every couple of weeks. It really keeps it constant in my mind about what I need to be aware of. And these attacks are becoming so much more sophisticated now. It's very easy to be caught out, even internally here. Sometimes with the phishing tests, you know, we've got to really look at them carefully and be really sure about what we're clicking on, and it can be easy to be caught out. So yeah, I think, Julie, the answer is that the managers have to be responsible for looking at those reports and maybe just encouraging staff that haven't engaged enough to get back on board and get back on track.
And I'll just jump up on that as well, just on the end, and just say that the current take up is around about 97% on the customers that we've deployed it to. Like Daniel says, all the training, it's never more than about 4 or 5 minutes. So it's all, short training, but the key thing is that it has to come from above in your organization. So your managers have to be invested, the managers at your company have to be invested, and they have to be the ones pushing it forward as well. Like Daniel said, obviously we will do whatever we can to support you, but you need kind of buy-in from the higher ups, because if they're doing the training and showing everyone that they're doing the training, obviously it's going to make everyone else do the training as well.
Just on one last very short story at the end about the Sphere. So in the last few months, I can give 2 instances where a customer that doesn't have a product set in the Sphere has had a problem, a cyber problem, and one where a customer with a Sphere has been protected from it, and the same thing has happened in both cases. So the Sphere is very good at something called impossible travel. So if somebody is logged onto their computer in Manchester, like I am now, and somebody uses my username for 365 or logs on as me in New York or Berlin or anywhere else that's geographically impossible, then the Sphere acts on that, and then we can work to remediate it. And quite often, if somebody is breached, the hacker is going to be in a different geographical location. So where we've had a customer that's had the Sphere, but Nathaniel has taken remedial action with Joanne, and that's been the end of it very quickly, and we've been able to tell and identify it. Where we've had customers that don't have that impossible travel, it might be that where that person's been breached, they've had an email, looks like a client, a genuine client, that's asking them to share a file in OneDrive. They put in their email address and password. We've actually got their mobile phone and put in their MFA code as well. But the screen where they have actually entered that information isn't a real Microsoft 365 window. They've not noticed the address is slightly different. Actually, that login page is actually in the US. It's authenticated, and not only have they authenticated, they've given their MFA code, which has allowed the hacker in America to then generate their own token system. They've actually downloaded the authenticator and actually authenticated themselves, so they can regenerate that code when they want. And then they've stayed in that person's account for several weeks, monitored traffic, looked at weak points in the organization, spared out to other people in the organization. They've been able to continue and do damage. Now, the Sphere, with the impossible travel, if we would have had that in place, that wouldn't have happened. And we have had customers that have got the Sphere where it has stopped that kind of attack. So it is really, really kind of important that these kind of proactive tools are in place for customers. And there is so many parts to the Sphere and so many moving parts that that's just one example of where I can think of it. It's really stood out in my mind for a customer. Also, we had another customer that received an email from a senior member of staff about organisational changes. It was actually clicked on by a lot of members in the team, and parts of the Sphere have stopped that from actually going any further and causing a breach. So I really would recommend that you can consider the Sphere from today. The next step will be that your account manager will reach out to you and just see if you'd like a quotation, like a no obligation assessment, to look at what you have in place at the moment and give you a price to move to the Sphere and have a holistic approach on cybersecurity. Let's see if we've got any more questions here. Nick C says, thanks to my address for a voucher you already have. Bit presumptuous there, Nick C. I am actually going to give a voucher because we've had 2 questions from Julie, and they've been excellent questions to Julie Davenport. So Julie, you get the voucher today. And if there's no other questions, we're going to bring it to a close. So thank you very much.
Oh, hang on, we've got one more question, Daniel.
Oh, Julie, we might put you to the post here. I can't see another question here, actually.
It's at the bottom.
Oh, Steve, are these products monitored out of hours? That's a very good question. I'm going to pass you over to Nathaniel for that, if that's okay.
Oh, okay. So they're not actively monitored out of hours, no, currently. But obviously we do have 24/7 365 support, and we do have good coverage of generally outside of normal working hours, to kind of look at any of these things as soon as they're raised.
I think actually I'm going to expand on that. Sorry, it was a bit of a curveball for Nathaniel because I haven't digested it quite yet. The Sphere is 24/7, 365. Things like impossible travel is working round the clock for you. What I would say about Nathaniel and Joanne is they are 9 to 5 Monday to Friday, but if there is a service issue with security, it is 24/7, 365. We had a customer that was in an airport in America about 12 weeks ago. And he fell for, in fact, he didn't actually fall for anything. He was on a Wi-Fi connection, and he was a compromise on his mobile phone, and that happened at 2 o'clock in the morning. Nathaniel was dealing with that at 2:15, and it was resolved within the hour. So the security team is absolute 24/7, 365. The Sphere and the elements of it, the majority of it is automated and works around the clock. But you know, in terms of Nathaniel and Joanne watching the screen, no, that doesn't happen 24/7, 365. But we do deal with incidents and response out of hours. Any other questions?
I think that's it.
Okay, well, thanks for coming along, everybody, today. Joanne, vouchers in the post. Sorry, Julie, sorry, vouchers in the post. Thanks very much. Bye.